Good morning, guys. Let's try this one more time. My phone was dying. That's okay. It's going to be a great day. It's Friday. Welcome to the Fearless Morning Show. We are having confessions and conversations about your everyday life and finances. My name is Yamitra Jojo Waddell, the only Live Past Crazy Specialist. So what better place to be than here with me? I hope you guys are excited about the day. Today is Friday in the new year. It's just a couple of days away. I hope you are ready for it. I hope you're getting excited about it. I know that I am. That's why I decided to bring you guys some sunshine today. Show you a little red and purple. I love wearing headscarves, but I hardly ever get to wear them. So when I can, I put them on, and my lovely earrings. So I'm bringing you a little ray of sunshine bright and early this morning. So guys, the quote for the day is, when someone says you've changed, it simply means you stopped living your life their way. When someone says you have changed, it simply means you stopped living your life their way. And that is so true for a lot of us. When you start to grow, when you start to do things differently, people will always say, you've changed. You think you're better than everybody else. No, I don't think that, and I don't act that way. However, it is sometimes simply because you are no longer living your life their way, and they do not understand the way that you're going. So they assume that your change is to make them look bad. And in all essence, the change is for you to better yourself, and it has nothing to do with them. So don't let that hurt your feelings when you start to change and grow and do things different. When somebody says you change, it simply means you stop living your life their way. So don't allow anybody to tell you. When I tell you, I get that a lot. But JoJo, you've changed. Nope, I haven't. This has always been here. It is simply that I took away my expectations of what you wanted on my life and stopped allowing that to map out my life. Because a lot of times we take what we think other people want us to be, do, and hear, and try to make that our life. And then we're miserable and we have no reason why. And that is the reason why. All right. So that is the quote for the day. So the thought for the day is just a reminder, and this Freedom Friday, and I'm bringing you some sunshine this morning, is that you are a torchbearer. And that simply means is in everywhere, at some point in life, you've come across a person who has changed your life. They have said something or interacted with you and done something that has made you think, that has made you want to change your ways, that have made you want to change your family. And so I just want to encourage you guys today to know that you are the torchbearer for your family, for your generation. Someone is looking at you to see the change that they want. It is you. And I know sometimes we may question, is it really me? I promise it is really you. You are the torchbearer for your family. That may be, you may be the torchbearer for your mother, your sisters, your brothers, your cousin, your uncle, and they all may be older than you. Age doesn't matter. Excuse me. Age doesn't matter. If you are the torchbearer for your family, you have a responsibility to help your family change. I am an absolute firm believer, and if you've been following the show for over a year, that I believe that if we change one person, we can change a family, who will then change their community, and we will change the world. I absolutely firmly believe that you are the torchbearer for your family. You are the change that your family is seeking. You are the change that your family is waiting for. Because there's a lot of times our crazy becomes such a generational cycle that we have crazy of living in poverty. We have the crazy of the mindset. We have the crazy of men are all bad. And that's a whole nother story, ladies. We have to stop thinking, that men are all bad, or they're all dogs, or they're all this. Some may be, but when you group everybody together, then you are allowing yourself not to receive anything good. And the same thing applies to anything in life. When you group it all together and you associate a negative connotation with it, then you're never going to receive anything good from that thing, whether it's a thought, an idea, or opportunity, a person. You're never, ever going to receive the opportunity from it because you've immediately attached a negative to it, and so you can't receive it. It may be the very thing that you're praying for, but because you've attached negative to it, you cannot receive it. And you not only can you not receive it, you can't see it as an opportunity or as a blessing because you assume, because you grouped it as negative, that it's all negative. So think about that. But you are the torchbearer for your entire family. A lot of us say, well, how do I know that I am? If you're from, so we do confessions and conversations here. For me, I am the person that everywhere JoJo knows, call JoJo. They call me for absolutely everything. And it used to drive me up a tree. Or they ask me every question on a tree under the sun, and it would drive me up a tree. Or they would say, well, what do you think about this? And I would say, I don't know the answers to everything in life. I just don't. But everybody just assumed that I did. And then when I started to change, and that's the quote, when someone says you changed, it simply means you stopped living your life that way. And I realized that I was changing for the better. And when they stopped saying I've changed, I realized that they were watching to see what change was coming next and what part of my change that they could adopt for themselves, that they could do for them. So as a torchbearer, this is essential. You got to be open to share your dreams and your struggles of your change so that your family and your friends are comfortable to come and ask you, because we are our sisters and our brothers' keeper, whether you want to believe it or not. We are responsible to show them at least something different than what they see right now. So as a torchbearer, good morning, Terrence. How you doing? So be open enough, be humble enough, let go of the ego enough so that if you are changing, I'm not changing because I'm better than you. I'm changing because I want to be better than myself or better than the situation I'm in. Be open enough so that your sister, your mother, your brother can receive whatever it is, the change that you have. And they are comfortable enough to bring their idea of change for themselves to you. Because here's the thing. Our family may want to change. You may say, my family's crazy and they ain't ever going to change. They may want to change. They're waiting on you to do it first because they don't know how. And as the torchbearer, it is a weighted job. It is heavy on your shoulders, my friend. I promise you. However, you have that response. It's been given to you as your responsibility. Once you accept that, shoulder it up, take a deep breath, then it's going to become easier. But your family is simply, or your friends, your co-workers, your wife, your children, they want the change that you talk about. They may dream about it, but you talk about it. And then they're listening and watching, and they have no idea how to make that happen until they see you take your first step. Sometimes we are the torchbearers, we are the action takers, we are the way makers, we are the movers for our family so that they can live out their dream, because they're stuck in crazy and they don't understand how to stop that cycle. And y'all know there's 5 steps to living past crazy. The first one is to be quiet. They don't know how to do that. But when they watch somebody do it who is humble enough to say, I may not be getting it all right, but at least I'm trying, and to allow your family and friends to come to you to ask you questions about your change, then it gives them the comfort to do the change themselves. And y'all know I'm a quote queen. Here's my quote. Somebody's waiting to hear my voice. They will not move until I move. That's my quote. And when I realized that for myself, it changed my perspective of everything. Because I can say all day, what I think other people should do and why they live in this way. And it may simply be that I'm the torchbearer. They're not going to change until I change. Somebody's waiting for me to move until they move. So this morning, somebody's waiting for you to move. They're not going to move until you move. They're not going to change their mentality. They're not going to change their surroundings, their mindset, that crazy relationship, that crazy friendship. They're not going to challenge that job that they hate to their stomach. They're not going to challenge that until they see you do it, until they see you get tired of talking about the job that you hate, and you get your resume redone, and you go out there and you search for a new job and stop complaining. The life that you are living now is what people are watching. They're not thinking about or seeing what you're talking about. They are seeing what you're doing right now. What you're living right now is what you believe about yourself. The life you're living right now is what you believe about yourself. So think about that as a torchbearer, as the leader for your family. Because if you're asking if it was you, the answer is yes. So as the torchbearer, as the leader, as the object of change, as the change agent in your family, your belief system is evidence of your life right now. So if your belief says, I can have and go and do however I feel, then your life reflects that. But if your life says I'm less than and I don't deserve, then it's reflected in your relationships, your job, your children, everything. So your belief system, and I can tell you what you believe about how you're living. And yes, we all have, rough patches, but at your core, what is your belief system? What you believe is what you're living out right now. What you believe about yourself and what you believe about your life. And here's a little secret. We can't always say it's they or them that is hindering us from living our lives. Sometimes the they or them that is hindering us from living our lives is ourselves. And because we can't believe it and see it for ourselves, we have to project it on to other people and assume that it's other people who are hindering us when it's actually simply ourselves hindering us. So if you are a torchbearer, please understand it is your duty and your job to lead the way for your family. And that's okay. It's not being arrogant. It is being confident. Because there's a difference between being arrogant, having an ego, and being confident. I can be confident and humble. I'm confident that I'm the torchbearer for the White Oak Twitty family. I'm humble enough and let my ego enough go that I don't know everything. However, I do know that they're not going to move until I move. And I've got to be humble enough and open enough as the torchbearer for them to be able to bring their dreams to me when somebody says, hey, JoJo, I was thinking about this. And sometimes people don't tell you things because they think or assume it has to be a formal conversation. It doesn't. Hey, JoJo, I was thinking about this. What do you think? I'm going to be your personal cheerleader. I'm going to be all in 10,000%. I think that's great. Let's make that happen. And then you're going to be sick of hearing me. But as a torchbearer, I want to provide a space for my family, my friends, anybody to feel comfortable enough to come and share their dreams and aspirations with me so that I can help them, show them, and even if I don't know the answer, together we can come up with something. Be open so that anybody can come and ask you, how are you living out your dream? How are you doing your dream? Because if we have an arrogance about it, or about the way we're living, and y'all, let me tell you something that changed my whole life. And this is real confessions and conversations here. Just this week, it's been a rough week. I've had 2 deaths in the family since Sunday. 2, and it's rough. But I in the middle of that, you thinking, and I had this revelation, and I shared this, and I hope it can help somebody else. I was quick to say, my family is crazy. I don't understand why they do this or why they do that. And it was not that they were. Good morning, Minister Kim. It was simply I was imposing my expectation of their life onto them. And when they did not live up to the expectation that I had set for their life, I assumed that it was wrong. It is not wrong. That is their life and their expectations, not mine. And so when I removed my expectations of what I thought they should be living and how they should be doing, it relieved the stress off of me. Because here I am, worried and frustrated and projecting my expectations onto their life and getting mad because they're not meeting it when they didn't even know I was projecting my expectations onto them. They have their own. And then I realized everybody, including me, we have our own lives, we have our own expectations, and whatever it is, they are perfectly happy living out their own expectations in their own lives. It's not my job to project my expectations onto them, and they do not have to receive them. And when I realized that and I let go of that, my expectations for their life, for me, like, this is what I want. This is how I want y'all to live for me. When I let go of that, y'all, for real, my headache went away. Stress went away. And I didn't realize that I was projecting my expectations of life for my family onto them and giving them an unrealistic expectation to meet that they had no idea of. They didn't know at all. And that's not fair to them. So I'm prejudging them of something I said in my mind that they don't even know about. And that was not fair. And so there was struggle there. And I was like, why is this not working? And I was frustrated. It was, rule number 1A of living past crazy. Check yourself first before you check other people. And if you're in rule number 2, go back and read rule number 1. And so I had to check myself. And when I did that, the stress went away. My headache went away. And then the relationship instantly improved, because now I understand that my expectation is not their expectation. And if they don't know what my expectation of their life is, it's not their fault that they can't live up to it. And it's not my place to put my expectation of their life onto them. Just like it's not fair for somebody to put their expectation of their life. That's today's quote. When someone says I've changed, it simply means you stop choosing to live their life. Your way. Your life, their way. And when I stopped doing that just this weekend, like, instantaneously relationships were better. Because the expectations were gone and they had no idea. So change will always have to start with you. Absolutely. Always have to start with you. You've got to check yourself. But we are torchbearers for the family. But I want you to be open enough, let the ego go, and be open enough so that somebody can see you changing, so they can come and ask you, how did your change happen? So they can share their dream with you. They are waiting for you to make a move so that they can make a move. Y'all know my quote. I done had to write it on 2 stickies because I done used it so much. This is my personal quote. Somebody is waiting to hear my voice and they will not move until I move. So they're waiting on you to move. When are you going to make that move and allow your family to see action and not just words? Because we can say all day, I'm sick of this. I don't understand this. I don't like this for myself. But your belief system is evident in the life that you're living right now. What you believe about yourself is the life that you're living right now. What you believe about yourself is the life that you're living right now. If you think that you're less than, or you have nothing, or you don't deserve, then you live that life right now. It is evident in your job, your money, your relationships, because we can speak it. But until we believe it, we can't. It won't come to pass. Because words without action are simply words. They're not even hopes and dreams. Because when you have hopes and dreams, you apply an action behind it. Words spoken are just words spoken. Wasted air. So don't waste your time. Torchbearers, people are waiting on you to make a move. As the new year comes to a close, write out your plan. Don't wait till January 1. And in fact, if you do, take the whole month of January to plan out what it is. Pick 3 things that you really want to focus on for January, February, March. Or pick one you want to focus. 3 things for the year, and you break it down. And you work on it. And you make that happen. Be open so that somebody can come and ask you, how are you making it happen? How are you making your dreams come true? Because they are waiting for you to move so that they can move. It does not matter the age. It could be somebody older than you, but because they're so stuck and crazy, they don't understand how to stop that cycle. So they're looking for, and please don't use age as an excuse of why you can't be a torchbearer. That makes no sense. That absolutely makes no sense whatsoever. You can't use age. You can't use sickness. You can't use illness. You can't use situations as an excuse of why you can't be a torchbearer or agent of change for your family. If you use those things as excuses, that simply means you're not willing to do the work to get the change that you talk about. That's all that means. So that simply means it doesn't mean enough to you if you don't want to do the work. And when I figured that out, because I could complain, my shoulder hurt, I got a bad hip, my right knee hurts, I got a bad back. When I look at the computer too long, my eyes hurt. That's why I wear glasses. I have every excuse in the world why I can't do something. And I'll always say your excuses are valid. They always are. They're real. You are truly sick. You are truly old. You are truly whatever it is that you want to put behind it. But if you allow that to be the excuse of why you can't achieve the things you want to achieve, it simply means that it is not important enough for you to do the work, to be disciplined enough to do the work. Because some of us would rather live in the comfort of crazy than deal with the discipline of freedom. And what that means is, I know this crazy. I know this routine. I know it like the back of my hand. I know I'm going to get up, go to work, take care of the kids, come home, watch TV, go to sleep, go to church, see mama. I know this routine. And the minute I start to change, it's going to require something different from me. And some of us are not ready to accept the responsibility of the change that is going to require of us. Because we like where we are right now. Because there is no responsibility. There's no expectations for me other than to do exactly what I'm going to do. And the minute I decide to change, to want something different, is the minute people's expectations of me is going to change. And then I'm going to have to do something different. Because the discipline of freedom is, I want this change so bad that no excuse is going to stop me from seeing that change. Period. It's not. Now let me tell you, and if y'all been watching the show since last year, you know how I feel about complainers and excuses. I cannot handle it. Because this is what I know. Let me give you a quick rundown. This is what I know. And this is my story. This is Confessions and Conversation. I lived in a homeless shelter. I ran away from a husband who tried to kill me. I had the 2 kids. I had nowhere to live. I had 0 money. I went somewhere and asked people for underwear and a toothbrush and clothes. I had a car that only held $3 worth of gas. I didn't have a job. My family was 400 miles away from me. I had nobody there to help me. All of my excuses are valid. Every last one of them. But instead of dealing with the comfort of crazy, well, I know he's going to beat me every other day. I know I'm going to eat once a day. I know I'm going to go to the bathroom once a day. I decided to deal with the discipline of freedom. I don't care what I have to do, but I'm going to see this change that I want. So that meant I lived in a shelter. I asked people for the clothes. I went and found me a job. I asked to live with somebody else until I could get on my feet and get my own. I did the discipline work to see the change that I wanted. I could see it, but I had to be disciplined and do the work to see the change that I wanted. Was it hard? Hell yeah. It wasn't easy. And in the midst of that, I decided I could do more. Let's get a master's. Let's get a PhD. I'm no different from anybody ever in the world. The difference is the action that you're willing to take to get to the freedom that you want, the discipline. So we know this is the problem. There's not a problem that exists that doesn't already have the answer. This is the problem. There's always immediately an answer. This is the work of the answer. You got to be willing to do the work of the answer to get to the answer. You got to be willing to do the discipline to live into the freedom. Some of us rather deal with the comfort of crazy than the discipline of freedom. And when I realized if I could just stay focused for a little bit, my crazy would go away and I could stop it. And that there was freedom right here. Then I became disciplined. Then there were no excuses. There were no excuses. Period. It didn't matter. I didn't have an attorney to represent me. I can read. I read the law and I represented myself. No different from anybody ever in life. But are you willing to be disciplined enough to get the freedom and the change that you're seeking? That is the difference. You want to deal with the comfort of crazy or the discipline of freedom? You want to complain or you want to do something about it? The answer is there. You just got to be willing to do the work of the answer. Some of us know crazy and we're so comfortable with it that we don't want to change it. And so we stay with it. But if you're going to be a torchbearer for your family, which you are, if you're going to be the agent of change for your family, which you are, then you have got to take the step. Somebody is watching you in your family. Your mother, your aunt, your grandmother is watching you right now, waiting for you to make the change that you're talking about so that they can take their step to make that change. They're waiting. I promise you, they're waiting on you. And so when you are a torchbearer and you make that change, be humble, let go of the ego so that people can see that you are open enough for them to come and ask you, how did you make that change? How are you working on your dream? Tell me how I did it. And even if they don't come ask you, success leaves clues. Leave them a clue. Tell them about it. Hey, Mom, I'm making this change. Let me tell you how I did it. It doesn't even have to be that formal. You could simply say, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it this way. And they're listening. I promise you. Somebody's waiting to hear my voice. They will not move until I move. Somebody's waiting to see you change in your life so that they can change in their life. They just need to be able to see it in somebody else before they can see it in themselves. And that, my friend, is you. You are the torchbearer for your family. So if you ever had a doubt, if it was you, it is you. Today's quote, when someone says you've changed, it simply means you stop living your life their way. It's time for you to start living your life your way. I can tell what you believe about yourself by the life you're living right now. Don't just speak words. Live the words. Period. Don't speak the words. Live the words. You've got to be committed. There's a difference. You can be interested or you can be committed. If you're interested in your change, if you're interested in doing something different, then when you're interested in something, you can still allow excuses to make you not want to do the work. You're excited. Oh, I'm gonna do this and I want to do that. But as soon as you have the opportunity to do it, an excuse will make you turn around and go the opposite direction. That's interesting. If you are committed, there are no excuses. They do not exist. They are valid and they are real, but they are no longer an obstacle for you and into where you want to go. It just doesn't matter. Here's the quote that I live by. And if you read book 1 of mine, which is Fearless Woman Born to Give Thanks, there's a quote that I live by. And it says, do not let what you cannot do interfere with what you can do. And that's by John Wooten. The first day I left my survivor, I went and sat in the library because I wasn't allowed in the library. I wasn't allowed to read books. And so that's the first place I went. And I sat in the library and I was so quiet. And I picked up a book, and that was the quote that I read. And it allowed me to say, there's a lot of things I don't know. But the things that I do know, I'm going to focus on that. And as I work the things that I do know, what I do not know will come to be. And that's how I was able to learn the laws of North Carolina and represent myself in domestic violence court. Because this is what I knew. I did have 2 degrees already. I could read. I knew that part. So if I could just read enough to figure out the basics, surely to goodness, if I'm putting in the work, the answers for everything else is going to come to me. And that's exactly what happened. I was dedicated, focused to get the freedom, the result that I wanted. So I focused on what I knew. I didn't focus on what I didn't know. That came to pass. I promise it will happen for you. You just got to be willing to do the work. If you're not willing to do the work, then you're going to stay interested in something and you're not going to be committed to it. That's why the new jobs never work. That's why a new man never works. That's why you always have crazy relationships with your family. You've got to be committed to what you want to see. It will be hard. It will not be easy. It will be frustrating. It will be aggravating to the 19th power. That I can promise you. But I also can promise you that the first breath of freedom of stepping outside of crazy is going to be so amazing that it doesn't matter how hard the journey gets past there. You've had a taste of what not living in crazy is like. That you're like, oh, I got to keep going now. I promise you. I'm the only live past crazy specialist. So y'all know I know crazy up close and personal. So today's thought today, guys, is you're a torchbearer for your family, for your friends. Please take some action today. Take the whole month of January. You don't have to start on January 1. You can start now. Take the whole month of January and write out 3 things that you want to do, or 4 that you want to do for the year, or maybe 2 if you don't want to go that big, and focus on that. Your family and friends, they're waiting on you. And then be humble and open enough so that when somebody comes to you and says, hey, JoJo, I'm thinking about this. What do you think? It doesn't have to be, for me, it doesn't have to be an awkward conversation. I'm jumping right in. Girl, let me tell you, this is what you're going to do. And I'm going to be your biggest cheerleader ever, period. So think about that today, guys. You are the torchbearer for your family, period. They're waiting for you. Now, here's my quote one more time. Somebody is waiting to hear my voice. They will not move until I move. Somebody's waiting for you to take an action, to open the school, to start the business, to move out of your current situation, to move out of your neighborhood. They just need to see that it is possible. Once they see that it is possible, then they can do. Because they don't know how to stop the cycle of crazy. You do. And so they're watching you. They are praying that somebody in their family makes that first step so that they can make a step. Because sometimes others are paralyzed by fear and they don't know how to move. And that's why they're watching you. That's why they're waiting on you so that they can take their cues from that. And if you need a personal cheerleader, here I am. Yes, it's okay to dream and move forward. Absolutely. That's why I'm bringing you sunshine today. Yellow shirt, red earrings, yellow and red and purple scarf. I love headscarves. I'm bringing you sunshine today. And inspiration that you are the torchbearer. You can make it happen. I promise. You don't have to have all the answers right now. All you have to know is that it is you and you can make the next right step for you. And whatever that changes, if you have the idea and you don't know what to do with it, the next right step to do is write it down. Don't keep it here. Write it here. Because sometimes what you see here, you need to see here. Get it out of your head and get it on paper so that it becomes a reality. And then once you see it in black and white, your mind, here's what happens, and this is brain science. This is what happens when you write something down. Your brain assumes that you want to solve it, fix it, or find it, or work towards it. So as soon as you write something down, that's why we write sticky notes. That's why we write down things at work. It's a way of remembering. You remember in school they made you write notes, and the repetitions of it made you remember. So when you write it down, it makes you remember what it is that you're supposed to do, and your brain will do that for you. It'll say, oh, so you want to open up a bookstore, and then your brain starts to go to work towards that, so that now your brain is always on the lookout, because y'all don't want to open up a bookstore. My brain subconsciously is always on the lookout for the words that I've written down, and then as I write them down, I speak them, and so my mind is constantly looking for that all the time. I promise you. This brain science thing is interesting. I know I've learned so much stuff, and I promise you, yes, let it hit the paper and manifest in the world. Please do that. Jesus said, write the vision, make it plain. He didn't ask you for money. He didn't ask you for nothing else. He said, write it down. That's all he said. So today, guys, write it down. See it here, but you need to see it here on paper. So as a torchbearer, write it down. And here's the thing as I close out the show. I have a decree for my family. We have a Waddell decree that I wrote it in 2013. And it is just a few paragraphs of what we believe, who we are, who we are at our foundation, things that are non-negotiable to our core. And I wrote it out, and it sits in the bathroom. It's on the mirror. And the kids used to hate me for this because I used to make them read it out loud every morning together. I decree today that the Waddells, and we would read it out. Now, it took you a good minute and a half to read it out. They absolutely hate it. But what happened is little bit by little bit, it became memory so that we didn't have to look at the paper. And then when my children came against stuff that was against their core, it was nothing for them to say, wait a minute, I know that somewhere because it's in the back of my brain. I can't do that because that's not who I am. It's not who I am at my core. I can't do that. You'd be surprised at what writing stuff down, repeating them, does. Your brain always wants to solve a problem. As soon as you put it to paper, it assumes you want an answer, and it seeks to solve it. That's why I encourage you to stop saying, I don't know. The minute you say, I don't know, your brain stops working because it assumes that is the answer that you wanted. It's not going to go look for an answer because you said, I don't know. And your brain was like, oh, so that's the answer you want, and it stops working. So today, guys, be the torchbearer for your family. Let go of the ego. And if you have been the change for your family and you've already where you want to be, share it with your family. Tell them how. Tell them how you made it. Tell them how you did the change. Don't be arrogant. We are building generational foundations here. You are changing the generational curses on your family with you. You're doing that. Write it down so that somebody behind you doesn't have to figure it out for themselves. That's what a torchbearer does. We lead the way. Success leaves clues, and we're leaving clues along the way so that you don't have to work as hard as we did. Don't make your family work it. It's not fair. But homeboy, homegirl, it's on you. Leave clues for your family. Yeah, we all got to do our work. But if I am my sister and my brother's keeper, I'm also, as I'm walking, I'm leaving stepping stones along the way so that they can follow. And if they want to go and do their dream their way, at least they have some foundation to go on. At least they have that. I'm just saying. All right, guys. That is all for the Fearless Morning Show this morning. I hope you guys have had a great week holiday. I hope you be safe during the new year. The quote for the day: when somebody says you've changed, it simply means you stop living your life their way. Don't get upset with people when they say that. You've changed. It's just because you have not lived your life their way. And go back, if you missed the early part, go back and listen to what I learned this weekend, the expectations that I was projecting on my family about the way I thought they should be living their lives. And I didn't realize I was projecting that onto them. And when I did, y'all, the stress that came off of me was unimaginable. I didn't even know I was carrying that stress, but I was projecting my expectations of what I wanted out of their life onto them, and they had no idea because I never shared it with them. And they are perfectly happy. They have their own expectations of their life, and it's not in my place nor my job to take my expectations and force them onto them. And when I let go of that, my relationships with my family instantly became better, instantaneously, because now I'm not prejudging them on something they don't even know that I'm judging them on. And they may be doing the same thing to you, or you may be the one projecting it onto them. When I let go of that, I let go of so much stress and frustration. It was unreal. If I am the torchbearer, if I'm the agent of change, it is up to me simply to show the way. That is it. It is not to project the new rules that I've set for myself, and my expectation is not to project it onto them for them to live their life that way. That is not how it goes. So I learned that lesson, and that is my true confession for today. So go back and check that out earlier today. If your friends and family do not have Facebook, please send them over to the YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube and type in Fearless Morning Show, we're almost at 300 viewed shows over there. So go over there and share some of those shows. They are by topic and by title, so you can pick any one that you want to listen to and see if it's going to help you to live past crazy. My name is Yamitra Jojo Waddell, the only Live Past Crazy specialist. So what better place to be than here with me? I'm bringing you guys a little sunshine this morning with all the bright yellows and reds and the navy blue glasses, so that we can be great every day, all day. Be your own sunshine. Please don't forget to share, because sharing is caring. Miss Margaret is on here. Please check out Miss Margaret, because together me and her are hashtag changing the world. I've always been a firm believer, if we can change ourselves, we can change our family, change our community, and we will change the world. I promise you it's going to happen. Remember, somebody's waiting for you to move today. They're not going to move until you move. Stop speaking the words and stop doing the words. Be the action of the words and not the air of the words. Don't be the air of the words, meaning don't just speak them and they fall down. Y'all ever heard that saying? My grandpa used to say that. I can't trust nobody as far as I can spit on it. You know, you can't spit very far. That's how far your words are going. Not far. Do the work of the words. Do the action of the words that you say. And don't let them just be air. Don't just spit them out and let them fall to the ground, as my big daddy would say. Be doers today. Please be careful out there on these streets. Happy New Year. I may check in on Monday with you guys to see how everyone is doing. Please be safe. I expect to see everybody here back bright and early on Monday morning. I hope you have a great New Year. Thank you so much for joining the Fearless Morning Show. My co-host, Ms. Lynn Demis, who is America's #1 rebound coach. Yes, she said it, America's #1 is still celebrating the holidays, and we're going to hopefully have everything ready to go come January for her to join back the show. I know y'all miss her. You can check out Lynn at bit.ly/talk to Lynn. If you have questions about your finances, budgeting, and investing, getting your money right and tight, go over there. Her website is demonsenterprise.com. She does have some freebies over there. And if you want to educate your children, she does have a book called Financial Genius. Go over there and check that out. If you're interested on why I am the only Live Past Crazy specialist, I do have 2 books, actually 3, but part 1 and part 2 of my book on Amazon. Part 1 is Fearless Woman, Born to Give Thanks, and is how the journey really started. Transition to Freedom is book 2, and it talks about my life after abuse and what happened. So go check those out. And always leave a review and tell me what you think. If you can't remember the name, if you just type in my name, I promise I'm the only Yamitra Jojo out there. I'm going to pop right up on Amazon. Or you can go to livepastcrazy.com and there's a link for the books there as well. All right, guys, I hope you have an amazing weekend. Please be safe, and I'll see you here bright and early on Monday morning. Have a good one.